Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another stream. And today we're watching Breakfast Enjoyer versus Yellow Paint. And it actually just started. Um, so we'll be looking forward to this one. Yeah, so this is a really interesting set between two players who have had like a really, really good year overall. So um, I'm excited for this. We see like a relatively standard-ish Roy and Moon kind of balanced team. It looks like the same six as the team ESM used in SCL. That has kind of been around for a while. A few different people have like tried it. Um, and on the other side, we have like kind of like an interesting Glamora snow team with Galarian Moltres and Raging Bolt. Glamora is kind of an interesting choice on this team. The rest of it's relatively standard. Usually you'd see something like Sinistra on this, but we see Rillaboom and Glamora instead. Um, no redirection, which is interesting, but uh, finds itself in a pretty interesting matchup here with Kyurem having like a pretty good matchup into this team. Um, and kind of just click buttons. Deante's like kind of a big threat, but it's if it's like Terra Steel Flash Cannon, which it likely is, most are on these snow teams. That is obviously like pretty solid here, dealing with that anyways. Uh, so I think the key here for Breakfast and Joy is really like how you're going to make progress into this Kyurem and this Raging Bolt. Raging Bolt's like a little bit easier, but Kyurem in particular, you're really going to have to be conscientious about how you preserve your Deancey and like Incineroar and stuff. Moon plus Landorus can like get some big damage on it early game or whatever, or late game, whatever, to get the AV knocked off, but still like relatively annoying to deal with. This is definitely a matchup where the Landorus can Terra, by the way. If it's like Terra Steel, it just like goes really in here. Um, Although obviously Kyurem is still going to have like Earth Power for it, so you know, not a perfect solution, but definitely something to be keeping an eye on here. Or if it's like Terra Water or something, but usually Terra Steel is really nice for like this kind of exact matchup. All right, we see Roy and Moon Wellspring lead here into Kyurem Barrel Boom. Really safe lead here from Paint. Kind of just covers everything. Like uh, so, Roy and Moon immediately right. Like you have a good opportunity to click knock into this Kyurem. Wellspring is like relatively threatened here. You probably want to get that out into like Incineroar or something, but uh, it's not like that can't be punished. But uh, Incin will never die to like the double up regardless of what happens here. So uh, yeah, knockoff plus switch Incin seems safe, or protect is fine. Yeah, this runs a little bit of a risk of like actually getting called, but we just see a freeze dry. So really, really unpunished switch there from Breakfast and Joy. I mean, it's difficult to call for Pain, and you don't really get that much out of actually doing it. So not really like a bad position for Paint either. But now, if you're Paint, right, like probably just want to U-turn out with this Rilla. Uh, I mean, Breakfast and Joy could go for like Tailwind Flare-Blitz, but I feel like that's kind of a crackhead play, right? Here you really need to be thinking about like how you're going to deal with this Kyurem, right? So uh, yeah, but Glamora is a really safe switch in. However, it's not actually like as as great as it like normally would be, obviously, because there's like a Amoonguss here. Glamora reveals it was actually Choice Scarf that got knocked off, so that's actually fascinating. Uh, I don't even know what to think about that one. But Rillaboom's going to U-turn into the moon. Deal about 30% of chip, about 20% after healing. And Kyurem comes back out, um, which is fine, right? Like, it's not that bad for paint. However, I think the early turns have actually gone pretty well for Breakfast Enjoyer. You've taken like a little bit of a chip, but you've done a little bit more damage back, and you're still threatening to knock on this Kyurem, which, in my opinion, will be really critical to like winning this game. However, Incin's not really safe here, and neither is like the Amoonguss switch you'd want to make either, because Go Ninetales and Blizzard from Paint is like relatively safe. Um, Although that's kind of like the call of this turn, right? Are we going to see Paint go after the Incin, or are we going to see Paint go after the Moon? Because the Incin can easily be preserved and like get Amoonguss, Clue, T spikes, etc. But that does leave you like very vulnerable to like the Blizzard, right? So we're just going to see like a tail end parting shot, yeah. Now Amoonguss can come in and clear the hazards. So this is pretty safe. It kind of covers for the mid round of both. And we see Paint actually did end up going after that Amoonguss, or that Incineroar. And so good turn from Breakfast Enjoyer. Grim gets to -1. Um, and Amoonguss doesn't actually get like targeted there, so it works out for Breakfast Enjoyer. Although Amoonguss does get chipped, but it's really not that big a deal, right? So now there's not really anything to absorb knock here, so Roaring Moon just gets to click. Roaring Moon getting a lot of value here early. Scarf Gilmore is fascinating. Getting the jump on Pow is kind of cool, I guess. And Wellspring as well, right? I mean, it's not like you have plenty of targets for the stabs as well as like Earth Power. Yeah, its move pool is pretty incredible as well. More so curious what like the fourth move will be on it. So Rillaboom's going to come in here and like absorb the Stealth Rock and the Stealth Rock, the knockoff and the Spore. Uh, so like good defensive pivot by Yellow Pain. You only lose like 40% of your health, and you get rocks up, which isn't like the biggest deal in the world, but it's definitely like there's definitely something here. Uh, because like you really want if you're Breakfast Enjoyer in this matchup, you're really trying to like be like really positional with your like Instant and the Amoonguss. So getting that rocks up is like pretty valuable. So I guess that answers the question what the fourth moves was on the Glamora. So it seems solid, right? You get like basically guaranteed Stealth Rock. You're just faster than everything. But still, right? Roaring Moon just like kind of unpunishable. We see Lando come in here. It's interesting. Amoonguss is not going to die here. Gets that citrus. Would have lived anyway. But Rillaboom's going to U-turn out into it, and the Amoonguss is probably going to just go for like a Spore into the Glamora. Yeah. So Ninetales comes in, but there's still one more turn of Tailwind, right? So you can't just like attack immediately here or try to set Veil immediately, right? But you can't just protect, and Landorus will be able to get out of position on the following turn. Uh, Breakfast Enjoyer, it's a little bit annoying actually because well, it's not that bad. Like you kind of want to just like go in Incineroar here on a Amoonguss slot, get that Regenerator activated, and with the Glamora not taking a turn to sleep dead, it's like really safe. Um, Paint doing a good job making sure the Kyurem holds on to its AV. It's going to be as annoying as possible late game for Breakfast Enjoyer to deal with. Landorus can do a sizable chunk to Ninetales here, but it won't kill unless it's too poison, which has kind of fallen off a little bit. I mean, it's still like obviously like a great paratype on it, but it's no longer as ubiquitous as it was, say, like a year ago. Um, so interesting position, right? Like obviously, Landorus also has like the ability to like defensively Terra. Switching out the Roaring Moon was interesting. I mean, like it's not really bad, but like I feel like there wasn't really anything punishing it. Like it could have stayed and like clicked a little bit longer, but obviously it wasn't really making the most incredible progress. So it's probably marginally better to have Lando out here, but still, like it's the Ninetales coming in there makes it like a little bit more tricky. So far, we've just seen Spore from Lugus and Citrus Berry, so there's kind of a bit of a question as to what the rest. Okay, so there's the Terra Steel. We actually see a Sandsear, um, and works out well for Breakfast Enjoyer as the Blizzard comes out. No Veil yet, although you can't really stop it next turn anyways. But so here comes Kyurem, and this is like the NC taking that chip is kind of bad, but it's not necessarily the end of the world. Like Landorus, obviously, uh, that Steel type Terra, not really in a bad position here. Damage on Kyurem is actually permanent in this game because there's no Sinistra on this team. Rillaboom healing is kind of negligible, although it could play a big role here. But so getting any damage on the Kyurem is pretty nice. DNC has to really be wary of like Flash Cannon coming out here, as well as just Earth Power. Right, would probably not would be enough to kill it by itself, but it is likely this Kyurem has Flash Cannon. Or who knows? I mean, the Kyurem could even be like Specs or something. Although I feel like based on the damage, did it actually hit into anything for damage? Let's see. Oh, was he Helping Hand Blizzard, which actually gets a huge freeze and denies Landorus a turn of clicking. That's really unfortunate. Breakfast Enjoyer. That's really, really unfortunate because he would have gotten the Ninetales killed with no Veil going up. That's so bad. Okay. 2 days in a row. Game one is just wasted on bullshit. Uh, should we be normal? Looks really difficult now to make progress into this Kyurem. I should really carefully position DNC here, which might not even really be possible. Ramu comes in. When I say that fake out, that's going to deny Kyurem a turn of attacking, but the question is, can you really do anything here? You do have Teal and Parting Shot threatened, but there's not really a safe switch in to begin with, so uh, I don't even know what the point is here. Like, you don't even really have value from knockoff anymore with Lando frozen and like at low HP. We're gonna see Landorus just be sacked here, but Moltres comes in for paint, which is quite threatening at this point in the game. Paint still has Terra as well. This is just looking like really difficult to come back from. Rox has actually been putting up like an incredible amount of work in this game, chipping Incineroar every time it comes in. Actually, it looks like it's Incin Boots. Okay, it just took the chip another way, so that's kind of nice. Breakfast Enjoy, but obviously the Incin has still gotten pretty heavily chipped. It looks like I think this Kyurem's probably specs based on damage. And that Ninetales out right as Snow expired was pretty nice as well. Yeah, choice specs on the Kyurem. Blizzard's going to come out. That's not going to kill the DNC, but it gets another freeze. And it lives the double up, but it's going to be frozen. This is just okay. Right. So that was actually really good for Breakfast Enjoyer. Like there was a very high chance of being able to get the Amoonguss position in Trick Room next to the DNC and get Pollen Puff off, but now that just ends the game. That yeah, that sucks. It still was going to be pretty difficult, but like yeah, it's okay. What are we doing, man? I'm just gonna not even really think about the rest of this game. It's just kind of over here. Right, so we'll see what happens in game two. So an interesting team from Paint. And Scarf Blumora is really interesting. Scarf Blumora, Specs Curum. Open hand Nine Tails is really nice with both of those options as well. A lot of damage ramping there. So what actually happened in the game, no comment. Game two. We have Screens Yapdos versus Screens Dogi. Few things to think about here. Uh, Moltres looks a little bit annoying for Yellow Paint to deal with, aside from like Moltres. Could get annoying behind screens, so much like damage mitigation or whatever. So really, like if you're breakfast enjoyer, you got to be thinking about how you're going to deal with this Ogerpon, because the Ogerpon is just genuinely like a really big threat into the rest of the team as well. Terrifier Ivy Cudgel kind of just like hits everything right. So yeah, we just see the Ogerpon actually just come out immediately. We see Landorus on the other side. We see Tailwind actually come out from the Moltres, not even setting up. So that's pretty nice, right? So Ogerpon comes in, but immediately finds itself pressured out by both by the combination of Landorus and Moltres. So it might be able to eat something here because the Moltres like doesn't even have Air Slash. It's probably like Tailwind, Nasty Plot Fire, or Raft Protect. That's usually the set with Tailwind. But Landorus Sludge Bomb is still going to hit relatively hard, although you might have like Rain Shot on Grimmsnarl, and that would make the damage like basically like minuscule. Not getting up a screen turn one is kind of bad for Breakfast Enjoyer, um, as that's kind of just you just like don't. Now you're kind of like playing behind. It's a lot harder for you to deal damage to your opponent than it is for them to deal it to you. Um, so solid turn one for both players, I think. But uh, still, like the question really is how you're gonna deal with this Ogre Pond. Like, is there enough offense here to actually like knock this one out behind light screen? We actually see Gapdos come out and a Terra from the Moltres, uh, which ends up fine on this turn. Like that covers for both the Ogrepon and the Grimmsnarl, but obviously that makes you like a lot more susceptible to like Lando late game. So a little bit tricky there, right? Like I don't know how well that's actually going to like play out in the following turns, especially since you don't even have like Air Slash. You can't even make progress into either of those mons. So I'm not sure I really like that click. You're gonna have to rely from resources for the Moltres, so there's not even really like a way to like actually make progress with it. Like I feel like saving the Terra for like Dogi or something would have been a lot better. See a two wave come out from yellow paint and a knockoff from Gapdos. It's fire, yeah, it just like does under 10% to both targets. I think if you're yellow paint, you have to be thinking really like feeling really good right now. It just looks really difficult for Breakfast and Joy to make progress here into this board. I guess like I feel like you had to be like slim the Grim, but Gapdos just taking like minuscule damage there. What about the Gapdos set is? It's usually like Scarf, but I feel like that damn it could be like AV or something. Um, move on. Right, Crucial comes out. Yeah, it looks like it's AV or something. It switch moves there. Uh, Walter's gonna have Nasty Plot again, but Gristal actually just gets caught by a double up and dies, so this game actually kind of looks over to me. There's not really a way to protect the Moltres from Landorus now. I mean, I guess maybe like if you can get rid of this board, maybe Moltres can make enough progress to be annoying, but uh, overall, the first four turns have gone really excellently for Paint. Probably feeling that that switch was like pretty safe. Uh, Zapdos just clicking knockoff, but it turns out the Mon's actually not even Voice Scarf, so Brave Bird just does 60% to your screen setter, and then Crucial picks up the kill. So uh, kind of rough turn of events there. Yeah, I mean, this set really just hasn't gone according to plan for Breakfast and Joy, right? In game one, you get stuck with like a relatively difficult matchup, and then ended up getting frozen twice, and now here you've just like lost so much momentum early on in this game. Um, kind of unfortunate string of events there. Urgapon does come out, although this is like still very threatened by like a Thunderwave plus Brave Bird option from the Grimmsnarl, right? So uh, there's not even a whole lot you can do about that. I mean, Spiky Shield is fair, but the Moltres isn't really going to do that much anyways. See a knockoff, it's pretty big. Oh my god, Fiery Raft doing the most pathetic damage of all time. This is why we run Air Slash. Yeah, now Ogrefon's burned its Protect, and like it's just nothing really stopping Brave Bird into that slot. Brave Bird plus two wave. Ogrepon gets a double Protect. Okay, it's pretty nice, right? The spiky shield ship is going to be pretty big, but uh, we'll just see another Fiery Wrath making basically zero progress. Although uh, Zapdos will now probably die to recoil from a Brave Bird, regardless of like what target it actually hits into. Uh, but the Gapdos has just gotten like a ridiculous amount of progress into this team. We see Moltres attempt to protect as Braveford comes out and just kills the Lando and the Gapdos, which is like okay, like you finally got rid of like one of the dark resists, but there's still like a roaring moon in the back that I can't even really imagine this Moltres being able to break through, right? Um, and now Landorus just has like a really free in as well, or Heartflame or whatever, but it might be like slightly tricky to like actually navigate this game for Paint, but uh, the game I think should be relatively locked up. I think you send out Roaring Moon here and you kind of just like sit on the Moltres even more. You'll get screens back up with Grim. Um, you can kind of just like spam Breaking Swipe into Dogi and Overblown as well. Can Moltres keep itself alive long enough to actually win this game? Yeah, there's the Roaring Moon. Sinistcha is going to come out. It's going to get some healing onto that Moltres. Good defensive pivot there from Breakfast Enjoyer, but you're still again not making any progress, right? So what's even the point? Yeah, it's 16-7. It's just kind of sad. Your Dogi comes out. I mean, you're making like the right defensive switches here, but it actually reveals it was Cloak Dogi, so it would have been immune to that breaking swipe stuff. But now it obviously is susceptible. Tailwind doesn't come up from Moltres, right? So now here's an opportunity for Dogi to like potentially make some progress. Um, but still, it just looks so difficult to actually like beat this Lando late game. Roaring Moon's still going to be faster than both Pokemon here, anyways, right? So obviously, Sinistcha can come back out, but what are we going to see? Okay, so Grimmsnarl just clicks Reflect, uh, and like you don't make any like progress there for Paint, but you also like you don't make any progress there from Breakfast Enjoyer, even if you end up actually getting that Fiery Wrath off, right? So it doesn't really even matter at this point. Yeah, knockoff comes into the Sinistcha. That should probably be the game. Moltres going to plot again, but it's not really going to be meaningful. Snarl's just going to drop it. Oh, okay, you get Berserk, but uh, yeah, it's just there's no way to actually make a break for this team. Follow the Mons behind screens. Yeah, I feel like committing to the Moltres early was just it just made this game unwinnable. But I don't even know if like depending on like what the other Mons on the team, what the sets were, or whatever. I don't even know if there was really anything you could do. Like it depends on what if the Dogi was bulk up or not. If the Dogi was bulk up, I feel like it really should have been the Mon set up here. Like it's fine like sacking a bunch of resources to protect the Dogi because the only thing on this team for paint that really deals with it is Lando, right? So uh see Terra Poison come out from Roaring Moon. It's gonna actually live that crit train punch from Dogi. And Spheric Break's gonna kill the Moptris, and that should be game. So congrats to Yellow Paint for moving on to the finals. We're gonna see Yellow Paint versus Bagel for the finals of circuit this year. Bagel looking to pick up his second circuit win, and Paint looking to cap off what was really like a really nice 2025 season. Um, so yeah, that should be really entertaining. Uh, we'll see you for that one if it's at like a reasonable hour. Um, T-Wave from Group Snarl, yeah, it's over. GG's. Thanks for watching. We'll see you for finals next week.